Hello, fellow Nigerians. How far are you driving the national conversation? And how much action are you really taking in the best interest of this country, and more specifically in pursuit of a new Nigeria agenda? What is President Tinubu's foreign policy for Nigeria? And what are we learning from state actors in the international arena, like Iran and Burkina Faso? This is where my own side of the conversation is headed right this time. And I invite you all to join me so that we can make the very best sense and impact for the good of our country, for the peace and progress of our people. It's already 2 years into the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and I'm really at a loss as to what is really the foreign policy agenda of the president. Is it to sneak out to France anytime he feels like for medical treatment, and then to tell us he's going on a special retreat? Honestly, I don't have a clue if the president actually has a foreign policy for the country in place. Mid-term into his administration, I don't know who the ambassadors are and what agenda are they pursuing for Nigeria in the international arena. This is of great concern to me as a person, as a citizen, and I hope it is to you too. When the late Abacha, love him or hate him, when he was alive, what he really made a big name with for himself and the country was through the foreign policy that he was driving for Nigeria. You can say that the main thrust of his foreign policy, or Nigeria's policy under his watch, was regional security. He showed military leadership in Babangida, that if you like, they will tell you today that his foreign policy is that of Afrocentrism, meaning that Africa is the centerpiece of Nigeria's foreign policy. And then, as you are watching to see how Afrocentrism will take shape, he's already talking about non-alignment, or if you like, economic diplomacy. Okay, but at least we could have parameters along which to hold him down and say, what is your foreign policy for this country? It is in the same light that I'm asking and also seeking answers. What is Nigeria's foreign policy under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Is it in continuity of Buhari's own foreign policy of opening the borders for herdsmen, for his Fulani tribe from all over the world, and closing the same borders to everyone else? Is it a continuity of President Buhari's foreign policy of banning importation by every other Nigerian business person, by granting a waiver to his friends, to Dangote and Group in particular? It's very important we ask and obtain answers to these questions, and it's urgent as well. We should be interested in knowing what the president is doing, for instance, to check the menace of terrorists who are said to pour into Nigeria from neighboring countries and interstates. What is the president doing? How are the governors keying in? How are we learning from other countries that had similar challenges or that will continue to have similar challenges as ours? Is this how relaxed and careless they were or they are about their security situation? Yes, when you talk about Nigeria's foreign policy, this is it. If we were able to restore peace and democracy in countries like Sierra Leone and Liberia, why is the same peace and even democracy eluding us today? So I invite us, I appeal to us to take up this conversation from here. Foreign policy is another piece of the cake. It has everything to do with our peace and progress as a people. And of course, foreign policy is not just about what we say and do in the international arena. What do we learn? Okay, and that's why I brought in the examples of Iran and Burkina Faso. Iran today is facing serious action from Israel, backed by the US. And the most curious thing, I heard an Iranian lady voice it out on social media. She asked this rhetorical question: how many Iranians have come out to protest? You and I know the answer. No Iranian is coming out to say we are not happy with what US is doing. And why is that? This is because Iran, as we all know, does not only support and sponsor foreign terrorist groups, it is a terror to its own people. The Iranian regime and state is a terror to its own citizens. When you look at court, or let's start with police arrest, then the trial in the courts, the kangaroo trials, the ridiculous sentences passed on innocent citizens. You will not help but wonder if that's a civilized society for human beings to live in. Yes, economically they are better off than most Nigerians. If we talk about welfare, I think they enjoy a lot of facilities better than most Nigerians do. But if we talk about freedoms, even though our situation isn't any good, we talk about freedoms. There are freedoms we enjoy here that you cannot enjoy in Iran. Okay? It's not as if the politicians like it that will enjoy those freedoms. They have tried severally to curtail those freedoms. Freedom of speech, freedom of peaceful assembly, freedom of choice, freedom of religion, and all of that. You don't wake up every day and enjoy those in Iranian territory, you know. So many other things. So the citizens themselves seems to be heaving a sigh of relief. In fact, they may be wishing that the Israelis, the Americans go directly for the regime, the leader, the supreme leader in particular, get him and his men out of the way. That's the truth. So this is a country, Iran, claiming to be a democracy, but acting as a dictatorship, crushing its citizens and their fundamental human rights. We should learn from that. Our president and his political co-travelers in particular should learn from that example of Iran. When you say you're a democracy and citizens can't wait to see even foreigners invade the country to chase you out, then it says a lot. It means that democracy is not the way you think or dictate it up there. It's how citizens feel and want things to be done under certain prevailing circumstances. That's how best I define democracy. It's more practical and meaningful to me in that way. Okay? Now contrast this with Burkina Faso, where the military sacked a supposed democracy and the people celebrate it. The people are still happy with the current military regime. That to me is an alternative democracy because it has to do with the people's support. Where the people's support goes, that to me is democracy. And people's support will go into what guarantees peace, what guarantees democracy. So this is food for thought for all of us. President Tinubu and his gang or company, whichever one is comfortable to choose. They have perfect examples in Iran and Burkina Faso. And it's their choice to make. Do they want the Iranian treatment as championed by Israel, backed by US? Or do they want the Burkina Faso treatment, which of course has a Russian connection too? Like Russia or not, that is one area Russia has improved its image in the eyes of Africans. And this is not a blanket endorsement. I'm watching, many other Nigerians are watching. But the point here is that there are two perfect examples, sharp contrast, and from them we can choose. The president and his political company in particular can choose which of these examples they would really love to watch play out in Nigeria. Because time is ticking. And whether they believe it or not, whether they accept it or not, they are soon going to meet the Nigerian people in the doorway of history.